Thursday, May 19th, and I'm smiling because it's a happy day, see, because we're going to have a good conversation and bond. And there's going to be all kinds of good stuff. Spirit-themed Jersey Day. This was one of our past Heroes shirts from 2011. And then I will update after school today, your test grades as far as that goes. Sorry, I spelled it the European way. And then birthday was something yesterday. If you're still wanting to buy, hang on, pause.
Hi.
And we're back. Sorry, I had to do a thing over there with kids who are trying not to be on camera, but I don't have to hurt a child. So we covered that one. If you are still wanting to sign tomorrow, we do have time in class. You guys can do it then. It's a shorter class period, but you should still have time, which is fine with me. All right, and then I will update that after school today as far as to here. Okay. So a couple things as we get into today. I record because every class period, because it is a different conversation for each class. You're also going to see that I use, which is not a thing you normally see me do whenever I have to teach. You're going to see probably a slightly different version of me as I go through and do things today. The same version of me ignoring Asher because he's going to have to wait until the end as we go through from there. But I am typically, when I teach you guys, very well spoken, and I don't normally pause and have issues. Today, you're probably going to see me pause and have issues as I speak, because instead of just reciting basic Englishy stuff at you, I put a bit more meaning and weight behind what I say, and then also I have about an hour and a half's worth of conversation. I get to give you 30 minutes. And so I kind of have to pick and choose which bits each class gets, depending on how the conversation goes along. So that's why you'll see me pausing, and I also watch the clock a lot because I try to judge how much time I have left. And then I will also be putting up things behind me, which are just quotes and conversation bits that sort of go along with what I'm saying, but at the same time, it sometimes helps me focus because I have a bit of an issue. Me having an issue should not be a surprise to you. All right, let's go from here. I hate the last week of school. The reason I hate the last week of school is I love my job. And apparently there's not a lot of teachers out there who are like me. Again, you've probably picked up on that one also. But I really enjoy what I do. I like being a teacher. I like being in the classroom with kids. Even on the days where you guys drive me insane. And in this class, you guys have driven me insane, from the days where you guys were mute to the days where I couldn't get you guys to shut up. You guys have done the full spectrum of children in here. And each class period has their own personality. Which is a thing I did not realize as a kid. I sort of thought every teacher's class was the same, but it's not. From class period to class period, and from year to year, each class period becomes an amalgamation of the personalities that are in there. And if you guys were in, say, my 4th period class, it's a completely different personality feel. If you've ever been absent and watched my videos and then seen the video from 4th period versus the video from 3rd period, it's a different type of personality. I was very lenient with you guys this year because of your guys' group personality. I've had advanced classes where kids fight each other and hate each other. I've had advanced classes in the past where I've had to give more detentions in my advanced class than my regular classes because sometimes smart kids have strong personalities. They don't learn when to shut up. Some of my biggest bullies have been in my advanced classes. And that was not true with you guys this year. Going back to, like Sam sending out the thing about Princess Bride and the fact that this class has a group chat that so many of you guys are on is a good thing. It shows the fact that you guys bonded as this group outside of this class. I mean, I have class periods where kids don't know the names of other kids in the class, where even at this point in the year, they'll point to another kid on the other room and go, what's his face? And I'm like, they've been in your class all year. And I'm like, I'm some dude. And you guys don't have that. So I interacted with you guys differently all year than I did my other classes. Like the idea of the free seating that you guys pretty much got to have in here, and partly abused. It was more the fact that your hearts were in the right place, and so I didn't feel a need to have to crush you as opposed to my other classes, where I took away the right to even move seats at 50 points because we had so many issues in different classes. And so it was a joy to watch this personality form over the course of the year. That's why I hate summertime, because I'm not doing the thing I enjoy. I like summer. I like sleeping in. So that's wonderful. I like getting a chance to read books and play tons of video games and get stuff done. But I didn't become a teacher for summers. I became a teacher because of you guys. And I think the day that I no longer enjoy the classroom and only look forward to summer will be when I stop teaching. Because I think that's when teachers should leave the classroom. You shouldn't be in the room because you look forward to not being with kids. You should be in the room because you look forward to being with kids. So what that means for me is this is a bittersweet week. It's very emotional for me because I look forward to the end, and then I also miss you guys because I've learned over the years that some of you I'm never going to see again, which is tough for me because you've made me care about you. It's easier being a teacher when you don't like kids because you guys are annoying. You guys are insufferable at times, and you make us want to strangle you. And when a teacher doesn't like you, it makes teaching so much simpler. But that's not what you guys did. You made me like you. Even those of you I had to come down on and harass at times, you have personalities. You have personalities I really, really enjoy. And I've liked seeing those personalities change over the course of this year. And I've realized in my years of teaching that I don't get to control whether I get to interact with you after tomorrow. If you don't want to see me again, you never see me again. You're in the 8th grade hallway. You never come by my room again. And there are some of you that are in this room that tomorrow is the last time we ever lay eyes on each other. And it hurts for me because I look at many of you as family. And when you care about family, it's rough. And sometimes you fight with family, and sometimes you get along with family. That's how family works. So, since this is my last time to interact with you, I try to have influence. So that's why I started doing this Provi Talk at the end of the year, was realizing that if I truly care about what I do, which is making you better people, then I needed to put my mouth where my heart was. And then I was going to have to try and help you. So that's what today is. Today is me trying to help you and pass along information that I've learned. Partly why I told you guys stories this past week was to give today weight and meaning. One, if most of your teachers said, I want you to sit quietly in class while I tell you stories about my childhood, the student revolution would begin, and the throwing of chairs would be right there. And you guys didn't. You sat there quietly and listened to me for 3 days, given it was about me getting arrested, which I'm sure is enthralling as a child. But even from that, you guys didn't revolt against that idea. And the reason I tell you stories that are painful for me, the me going down the dark paths and the things that hurt, was so that I show you that I'm human and that you understand and give weight to the words that I pass along to you today. And with what I talk about today, for some of you it's going to have no meaning, which is okay. I'm going to have a conversation, and for some of you this is going to bounce off of you. And it is just going to be a half hour where I talk to you in a nice, low, somber voice, and you can replay it on YouTube and put yourself to sleep in the future. And that's okay. But for others of you, I've learned that it hits home. When you talk to kids from earlier classes and they talked about the fact that what I said was sad, it's because I'm going to talk to you like you're big people, and I'm going to have a conversation with you like an adult would. And for some kids, they've never really had that, and it hits a little harder. I am the most normal person in my family. That should tell you a lot about my upbringing, because no part of this should be normal. But in my family, I am what is held up in front of all of my other family members as what they should strive to achieve in normality and success. And I keep trying to tell my family, there is no part of me that is normal. I go out in the woods and dress up in ladies' clothes and dance around for children. And yet you find that to be a normal thing. But with my family, that is normal. So I have, and I've touched on this a little bit, but I come from a background of pain and suffering. And I know as a kid, it is easy to see adults as probably always having been perfect. And we put on this mask for you of the fact that adults are always good people, and we're trying to hold you guys up to what we think you should be. And I don't feel that's right. I think when you guys start getting to this age, it is time for you guys to see adults for who they are. And that's why I give you stories about me making mistakes. That's why I don't mind making mistakes in class. That's why I started making mistakes on the screen when you guys come in, is because I realized early on that too many kids don't see adults make mistakes, or when adults make those mistakes, they refuse to admit to them. And making mistakes is important. And so that's why I try to be honest with the mistakes that I make in front of you. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to go two different directions at once. Okay, history of me and my family. To give you a little background, I talked a bit about the fact that I come from alcoholism, drug addiction. But more so than that, I come from divorce and abandonment. My blood father, who was the one who was the they give birth to me, but that's not what the guy does. You're with me. He abandoned me at 6 years old and left my family because he and my mom got divorced, and he didn't want to be a part of my family anymore. So I've not seen my blood dad since I was 6, and my mom remarried my stepdad, and I considered him my real father from 6 until 16, and then they divorced when I was 16 years old, and that was a really tough thing to go through. I've been through a lot of death in my family. I have been abused when I was a child by family members, not my mom or my dad, but by other family members. And so there's all these things that happen in life that shape who you are. And I think when I'm up here in front of the classroom with you guys, those are things that you probably wouldn't have suspected about me, because it's not what I put out there. It's not the version of myself that I want to show you, because I don't think it's important while I'm teaching you as 7th graders. But I'm no longer teaching you as 7th graders. You guys are now leaving my class and going on to 8th graders, which is why I don't mind telling you guys about my history. The reason I tell you about that is so that you understand that I understand pain and heartache growing up, and that almost anything you have gone through, I have gone through. Seldom is a kid able to come in and sit in front of me and tell me their life story and not have something that could connect to my life, whether it be abuse, divorce, whether it be getting arrested, whatever it might be. I've been there, and I turned out fairly okay. As okay as I can be. But that's partly the example I want to show for you guys. I used to not do this talk at the end of the year with my advanced kids. I used to only do it with my regular kids. And it's because I used to think advanced kids had good lives. And the fact that advanced kids didn't have worry and pain because you guys were smart. And so I didn't have to give you this kind of talk at the end. And then, over the years, some of my biggest struggling kids came from my advanced classes. One of my first past students who got pregnant in high school and gave birth was from my advanced class. One of the first kids who dropped out at 16 was from one of my advanced classes. Some of the kids who came back to talk to me about their life were from my advanced classes. And I realized how wrong I had been to assume that just because you are a smart person in an advanced class that you don't have pain in your life. And so I started telling the stories and the talks to my advanced kids at the end of the year also. It is easy to assume everyone's home life is like your own, especially when you're in the junior high. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's part of being human. You assume whatever your home situation is, most likely other kids have a similar home situation. When I was in junior high, I thought it was perfectly normal to have parents who were divorced, to have a father that you did not know. I thought it was normal to have grandparents who were alcoholics, where you could not invite friends over to their house on the weekends because your grandfather would embarrass you in front of them. Growing up, I thought it was normal to have an uncle that was in and out of jail and drug rehab because I figured that's what every family has, because that's what I had. And it wasn't until junior high and I started becoming more aware of other kids around me and talking to friends and becoming aware when I was at their houses that that's not how every house is. For you guys, some of you guys come from hardship and tough home lives. And some of you guys, and I know this because I have kids who come back and talk to me, and I listen way more than I talk. I listen in the hallways, I listen in my classroom, and I pay attention to kids. And I know you guys come from abuse. I know I have kids this year who have abusive home lives, parents who yell at them, parents who physically abuse them, but we can't do anything to remove them from that home because it's not always that easy to do. I know I have kids this year who have alcoholic parents. I've had 7th graders come and talk to me this year that are already drinking and smoking pot, and they're not sure what to do with their lives. What you guys need to understand, especially if you are one of the kids who is coming from that happy place, if you are coming from a home that doesn't have abuse, if you're coming from a home that is not dysfunctional, and from your view everything is great, that's not a bad thing. That's good. But you have to realize there are kids sitting next to you in this class who don't have that, who are coming from pain. I have kids who are coming to talk to me after school and crying because they don't want to go home, because home is not their happy place. School is their happy place. I have kids who are terrified of this summer because summertime means they cannot be at school with friends and that they have to spend the entire summer with their family, who they dread. When you are 12 and 13, 14, 15, any of the ages coming up, and that's a thing that you're going through, and you are a kid in junior high, and you are suffering from abuse, or you're suffering from parents who are neglectful, or you're the kid that has to raise your family on your own, it makes you sad and angry, because you should be sad and angry. Every kid should have a home where the parents sit around the dinner table with you and talk. Every kid should have a home where you don't have a split family that you have to go back and forth between things. Every kid should have 2 parents who say, "I love you" on a daily basis. But that's not the way life is. Life sucks. And a lot of times there are kids sitting around you who are hurting nonstop. And if you've ever been jealous of someone because they had better clothes, or jealous because they had a video game system or a better phone or something about them that makes you jealous of them. Imagine what it's like to be jealous of someone's entire life, and the only thing you're jealous of is the fact that their parents don't abuse them, the fact that they get to go home to happiness. That makes kids angry. It makes kids sad. 12 and 13-year-olds shouldn't have to carry that weight, but they do. Those are kids that lash out, bully, and attack others. They don't bully you because they hate you. They bully you because they're sad and they're hurt, and you have a thing that they don't have, and they don't know how to get it, and life is not going to give it to them. There are kids who, when they go home, their parents' form of love is hitting them. So what do you expect that kid to do when they come to school? That's what they've learned. One of the quotes that helped shape me was the one in blue up there. The idea that if you come from a good home, if you come from one where the parents are doing the things they're supposed to, that makes my job easy. You're the kid that does your homework in class. You're the kid that raises your hand. You're the kid that never gets kicked out in the hallway, who has a bunch of B points, and everything is going well. And I appreciate that, because that makes my life easier. The problem is, it's the kids who don't have that. They don't make my job easier. They make my job tougher. But they also make my job that much more important, because those are the kids that need an adult. When I first started teaching, I didn't realize the role I played for kids and the role I played in kids' lives. I just thought I was an English teacher, because that's what I went to school for, was to teach English. But so much of what I do has nothing to do with teaching English. My making you guys stand, or charging you behavior points and holding you responsible for things, it has nothing to do with English. It has to do with the fact that at this age, you guys need to figure out who you are. Junior high is not hard. Junior high English is super easy. As you guys move forward going into 8th grade, there's nothing about junior high that's tough. Turn in your homework. Pretty much comes down to that. So why is junior high important? Junior high is critical, but it has nothing to do with what you are learning in classes. Junior high is critical because it's going to teach you how to be humans, which is so much more important than anything else. Yeah, go for it. So that's why I set up my room the way I do, and the way I run things the way I do. Because I know what you read in my class, the grammar you get from my class is not important. You figuring out how to interact with other humans is way more important. Bad humans don't go away. You guys have seen news. You guys have seen social media. Karens always exist. They don't go away. Young Karens grow up to be big Karens, and they're always going to be there. What you have to learn is, how are you going to interact with them? It sucks that bullies are out there. Schools are not going to get rid of bullies. And I'm sorry to break it to you. We can't get rid of bullies, because we can't get rid of bullies in life. How are we going to get rid of bullies in school if we can't get rid of the Karens in the world? And I wish we could. I really wish that was the thing that could happen. Bullies are never going to go away as long as we have humans. It's part of human nature. What you have to learn how to do is how to interact with them. I got bullied a lot as a kid. And I had a lot of anger from it, because I didn't understand why they did it. I just figured that they were just mean people. But having been a teacher and talking to kids, my issue is everyone talks to me. Both the kid that gets bullied and the bully both come in at different times and talk to me after school. So I get to see both sides of it. I see the kid that is in tears because the other kid is being awful to them. And then I have that kid who is awful come in and sit in my room and cry and talk about how awful their life is and how they're just trying to find happiness. And it's hard to hate a kid when you understand why they do what they do. And that's one of those things that took me way too long as a human to figure out. I come across, I believe, as a fairly happy person. And that's because I am, but it's by choice. It's partly why I tell you guys these stories at the end of the year. That my personality is one that I choose for myself. I don't know if you guys saw at Camp Tecumseh, but I have a tattoo on the back of my leg. And so my tattoo sort of sums up my life motto. My grandfather, the alcoholic, I loved him. A lot of you guys who come from abuse and dysfunctional homes still love those dysfunctional people. I love my grandfather, no matter how screwed up he was. And he was screwed up. But one of the things he told me when I was growing up is I always wanted a tattoo. I loved ink. Even from when I was a junior high kid, I wanted to get tatted up. And I talked to my grandpa, and his advice, because he had been in the Navy, was tattoos aren't bad, but they have to have meaning. And his advice to me was design your own tattoo and then wait 5 years. If you still want that same tattoo after 5 years, you'll never regret it. Which is what I did. In college, I was suffering and going through some really tough personal hardships. And I realized I had to choose the path in front of me. I could choose anger, or I could choose happiness. Anger was easier. It's easy to give in to anger. It feels good sometimes. You let it just swell up and cover you, and it covers pain way better than happiness does. Happiness is nice, but happiness doesn't cover pain, and anger does. But I also was mean, and I was a bully for a while. And I remember when I was going through my pain, I tore into my younger brother verbally just to make him cry, because watching him cry made me happy. This person that I loved, who had been with me since he was born, but sharing my pain and tearing him apart, it made me feel good. And when I watched my brother cry, I realized what that said about me, that I was choosing this path. And I had what's called an epiphany, which is a fancy word that means you have a realization, a moment of clarity. And my moment of clarity was that we choose the path we go on. And I realized that I was choosing anger because it was easy. So I decided at that moment that I was no longer choosing anger. I was going to choose happiness. And the tattoo I designed is a smiley face, and then around the outside of it is a Latin phrase that says Ignis aurum probat, miseria forte viros, which means evil will always surround you, or evil is always there. It can either destroy you or it can build you up. And I put that around the smiley face because that is my reminder to myself. We can't get rid of evil. You can't get rid of bad parents. You can't get rid of bullies. You can't get rid of the bad things that happen in your life. It's always going to be there. It doesn't matter what you do, where you live, on an island. Bad things are out there. Evil will always be there. What you get to do is choose how you react to it. Do you choose happiness, or do you choose sadness? I chose happiness. And it's how I choose to confront everything that happens in my life. This year has been really, really rough on me. It's probably been one of my personally toughest years in my 46 years living. But I worked hard to not let you guys see that side of me. The reason being is I didn't want to give in to the darkness. I figured I would choose happiness. And so I chose happiness. And that's what I want for you guys. You are going to be confronted with things coming up in your life. And you're going to have to choose whether you want happiness or sadness. And no one else can control you. Your parents can't control you. Teachers can't control you. Your friends can't control you. They can influence you, and there's a difference. Your parents can't control you. You can run away. You can take off. They can't do it. They can't chain you in your room. You have choice. You choose how you want to do it. If you've enjoyed my class this year, if you've enjoyed being around me this year, that means you're letting me influence you. You choose that for right or wrong. If you think my choices were ones that you like, emulate me. If you disagree with me, then don't. And it's okay. You have to pick who you think is important in your life. You pick who your role models are. You pick who it is that is going to make you who you are. I put on a mask every day I teach because the personality you see at the front of the room is not my real personality. My real personality is a shy, quiet kid sitting in the back of the room watching everybody else. I do not like being up in front of everybody. I do not like people staring at me. I don't like public speaking. I hate every moment of it. But if I gave in to that side of myself, I would be a bad teacher. So I choose how you guys see me. So here's my advice to you guys. Why are you not who you want to be? When I was your age, I was a shy, quiet kid who was petrified of everything around me. And now I'm not, because I don't let it control me. So my question to you is, are you who you want to be? Are you happy with the current version of you? And if you're not, why have you not changed it? Are you worried about what other kids say about you? And if you are, my question is, why? Do you know who your friends are? Do you know who you let be an influence on you? Are you scared to speak up and be outgoing because other kids are going to make fun of you? Other kids are going to make fun of you no matter what you do, because that's what humans do. Why are you letting other humans stop you from being who you want to be? If you want to be outgoing, if you want to be a leader, if you want to be that person that goes and asks out some dude or some chick, what's stopping you? Why do you not do it? Is it fear? And if it's fear, I ask you, fear of what? What are you afraid of? That some other person says no? Who cares? You are the only one that shapes who you are. No one else gets to shape you. And if you live your life being afraid of what other people say about you, you will never get to embrace who you are. The motto that I put on the back of our hero shirts is fearlessly be yourself. It's one I got from my stepdad. And it was one that he told me when I was just a little bit older than you. And it hit hard. And it's partly what shaped me in my direction, which is why I put it on every shirt that I put out for the Heroes team. To fearlessly be yourself. To not be worried about other people making fun of you. Because it's why I don't care what people say about me. If I come to school, if I go dress up as a woman in the woods and dance around with children, or if I, whatever it might be in front of other people that makes them laugh at me, I don't care, because I'm happy with who I am. I have gone through my life and figured out who I want to be, and I'm happy with it. So I challenge you to just figure out who you want to be and be happy with it. If you're happy being the shy, quiet kid, be the shy, quiet kid. But if you want to be the kid that is the center of attention, be the center of attention. Be the one that does whatever weird thing you want to do. I started the year painting my nails because that was the whole idea, was that I don't care if people judge me. Because as soon as you let others judge you, you put yourself into a box. And the only person who should put you into a box is you. My door never closes. It is always open to a past student. not physically, I mean, we close the door as a metaphor. The idea is I never stop caring about you. If you ever come back and need to talk to me, even if you've not talked to me in years, and suddenly there's a day where you need someone to speak to, I don't forget my students. I don't turn you away. You are always welcome to send me a message. You are always welcome to come back and talk. Whether it is next week, whether it is years from now, I will always be there and I will always listen to you, because I've realized that is a role I play for some kids. For some of you, you needed a room to come into and laugh and have a good time, and you needed an adult to cheer you up. And for others of you, you needed someone to be that adult that put boundaries down for you. And for others of you, you needed an adult who said that they cared about you. I've realized that I play a different role for each kid. Whatever it is you need me to do for you, I will do. See? Just somber, not sad. Enjoy your guys' day. See you later.